Christopher Columbus is known as one of the first Europeans to set foot in the Americas. Today, I'll be answering the questions of how did he get there and what happened once he got there. As you probably already know, the Europeans weren't the first people who lived in the United States. Native Americans were actually the first people there. This means that when the Europeans got to the Americas, the Native Americans were already living there. But how did the Europeans get to the Americas, you might be wondering? America was many miles away from Europe and across the ocean as well, so the Europeans couldn't just walk there. The Europeans took ships to get there. On those ships, they had supplies that they would need to survive in the New World. These voyages were funded by the voyager's king or queen. A fun fact is that Christopher Columbus and his crew were not actually looking for America on their voyage. They were looking for the Indies and thought that that was where they were when they arrived in America. This is why Christopher Columbus mistakenly called the Native Americans Indians when he first arrived. Anyway, we don't know much about the very first interactions between the Native Americans and Christopher Columbus and his people, but we do know about what happened a little while after the Europeans' arrival. The Europeans were not very kind to the Native Americans at first. They intruded on the natives' land and tried to do things the Europe way instead of how the natives had always done things. The Europeans wanted to spread the religion of Christianity and force the natives to convert religions. The Europeans didn't only bring Christianity with them to the New World, they also brought disease. The Native Americans had never been exposed to the diseases that the Europeans brought with them, so some of the natives got very sick and died. This was not a very happy time for the Native Americans. The Europeans didn't bring all bad things, however. They also brought new trade goods to the Americas. They brought things like axes, knives, and guns, which the native Indians had never seen before. The Native Americans taught the Europeans how to farm things like corn, beans, and wheat. The Europeans did not have enough land back in Europe to farm, since it was overcrowded there. The Native Americans had become really good at farming and shared those skills with the Europeans. This is where the idea of the first Thanksgiving comes from. I hope this video taught you something or even just refreshed your memory about the things you already knew. See you next time!